The number of immigrants in Burlington has been increasing. They are not allowed to vote in local elections, even though they're here legally. Would you support a bill to allow legal immigrants to vote in local elections?
I would. I actually, for the year or so after graduating from college, I actually worked in an immigration law firm helping families and people who are here on work visas just navigate the immigration world. And you know, the more and more immigrant families I met, the more and more it was confirmed to me that these are hardworking families, these are hardworking individuals who most of the time are in jobs paying taxes and being really responsible and committed members of the community. So of course on a federal level to have voting rights is something completely out of Burlington's control, but on a municipal level that is under our purview to say, do we want to enfranchise these people? Do we want to be able to give them the right to vote? And I think for these families who are sending their kids to the local schools, who are paying taxes, who are paying property taxes indirectly through rents, they should have a voice in their communities. It will only help to further, I think, welcome and include them into the communities that they are now part of. And it will give them a voice over things like the schools that their children actually attend. So I would definitely support that effort, and I think it's a matter of human dignity, if you will, to be able to have a voice in your own local community.
This is one of the resolutions that fell through the cracks at the NPA, at our NPA in Wards 2 and 3. I brought two friends of mine that are professors at UVM. And one is from Australia and one is from Italy. And they're not yet citizens, so they're not allowed to vote in our local city elections. But they have children in the schools, and if you add up the time, it takes 5 years before you can apply for citizenship.
Right.
And there's another 2 years after that before it comes through, so that's 7 years. And their children can go through almost all the way through school before they have the right to vote for the school board.
Right, right, absolutely. I think, and the system is only getting, unfortunately, slower and slower. The amount of time it would take to do one case at the immigration law firm when I was working there as a paralegal was just appalling to me, to have these people just wait and wait and wait just to hear back from the INS, and now it's called I think it's called the Bureau of Immigration Services these days, but just waiting to go through the actual legal process to be able to be naturalized and have the right to vote is such a long process that on a local level people should be able to engage much sooner than that. It's not, I don't think it's going to be, or I do think it would be such an important way, again, to bring these people into their community, to really allow them to have say over everything that we take for granted for as U.S. citizens. You know, just the ability to make a statement on either a local elected official or their school budget or a bond or any of these elements. And the other thing that is important to remember about immigrants, it's not just so many of the immigrants who are coming in are highly educated, are coming from parts of the world that either for one reason or the other they can't stay in, or they want to immigrate because they want to be here in the U.S. And I don't think we should penalize these people by keeping the right to vote on a local election from them. I think it's just, again, a matter of human dignity, and more people participating in the system is good in my mind.
I believe that you've been going around the ward knocking on people's doors. What kind of a reception have you been getting? Do many people invite you to come in and warm up?
I love Ward 2. Can I just say, because I have maybe had 3 people who have been not so friendly, and I've knocked now on 1,000 doors. I went through my full box of 1,000 pieces of literature, so I've been on many people's front porches, and people have been really pleasant. A lot of people have invited me in, especially when it's been -10 degrees and snowy outside. People have been very gracious with allowing me to come in and warm up. And I have to say, it's been really great to meet all the different types of people there are. You can be at one house and have a refugee family who doesn't speak any English, and then next door you have homeowners who've been there for 20 years, and then next door you have some students who, and I have been actually really impressed with the students in Ward 2. Most of them are very engaged in the community, and Some of them have volunteered on other people's political campaigns or asking me lots of questions about, you know, how do I go about finding a job so I can stay in Burlington? The intent of most students is to be part of this community longer term than just their 4 years. So it's been really, I think people should just find an issue or work on someone's campaign just to have the privilege of being able to go door knock and meet your neighbors. It's really a great way to see how many great people and different perspectives we have in Ward 2. And people have been really great. That not a lot of people have a lot of issues to talk about, but those who do are very passionate about, you know, either if it's a simple thing about being able to get their sidewalk cleared, or concerns about salt on how much salt's being used on the sidewalks and how that impacts dogs and their feet, and that's not very good for dogs. This is a simple, you know, common sense thing that's been great to give people a forum to say, you know, is that something that the city council can do? Yeah, the city can absolutely, you know, deal with issues that seem really simple and common sense, and it helps people remember that they can be engaged. If you bring up the topic and you have a counselor who's willing to kind of be engaged and help people see it through the process, you can change things like that. This is your city. This is your neighborhood.
Before moving to Burlington, I lived in Albany, New York, and I did political campaigning door to door in Albany. The worst thing about going door to door, though, was the dogs.
Yeah.
Every time I went out, I would meet at least one dog with a big bark and a growl.
Yep.
Have you met any of those?
There was only one. I mean, there's only been one, and they've always been behind the doors. And when someone does answer, usually, you know, they either put the dog in another room or it's a friendly dog. I have found most people in Ward 2 are actually cat owners. I have definitely, it's probably a 2-to-1 ratio that people really love their cats in Ward 2, and not as many dogs. But every time I go out, I always think, now why didn't I go buy those dog treats? I always mean to bring dog treats. So if I'm elected and I run again in 2 years, I will have dog treats in my pocket, just to help, you know, make friends with the dogs who might be a little bit of a growl to them.
That's the advantage of campaigning in the winter.
Yeah.
I was campaigning in the warmer weather, and I met the dogs before I met the owner.
Right. That would be different. My dad actually has run for state representative in Berry City on a couple of occasions, and he definitely had some more run-ins with dogs. So I think the nice thing about the winter is that they're usually inside already, so you don't have to meet them out on in the lawn or out on a chain somewhere. So it's probably the only good thing about campaigning in the winter.
I know, it's cold.
It is.